you so much for I hope we're rolling right now. Jason makes the best coffee and tea. Cheers. Here's to a great episode.
Yes.
Lots of love.
Me and Frank out here just, hanging out by ourselves.
Yes.
Hey, bud, what's up?
Aww.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, it's the Big Schwag. This is Killing Time Experience, of course, with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Felissa Rose, and I'll throw it to you, Jay.
Oh, me and my man cave.
Jason, the producer with the most, the man that puts this stuff all together. And we're excited to be back with you. And Felissa.
Yes.
Whoa, what are you drinking right there?
Cheers. I have a delicious coffee.
Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers. I feel like the biggest slacker because the way Jason makes coffee is so fantastic. I even have a little extra milk on the side.
Now, he was quizzing me because he gave me a coffee mug from Kingsland, Texas, Grand Central Cafe. And didn't know that I knew that this happens to be from the old Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, which they moved to Kingsland, the original, which they made into a restaurant. Jason, was that a pretty cool place to check out?
It was phenomenal to check out. So you can go, because I think it's like 45 minutes from Austin, Texas. And so you can go check out the cafe, the house that they switch into a cafe. Amazing food, by the way. And then the opposite direction, maybe like 30 minutes outside of Austin, they have the gas station that they converted to the barbecue place now. And they have like the van there and all that stuff. Super cool. Just like, growing up loving that movie, I was like, oh my God, we're here. And Frank has a photo in front of the van.
Before we discuss how much we love the gas station, I was actually at the original location in Texas. Oh my gosh, a good 25 years ago with the cast. I was working for Fangoria as a consultant, and I was there with Marilyn Burns, Gunnar Hansen, Ed Neal. I was able to interview them right there on the location. It was a dream to be there before it was a restaurant. And to just be in the presence of that greatness of a film that we all absolutely love and adore. Yeah. It was quite extraordinary being on that property.
Yeah, most people that are into horror movies, and definitely with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if they go to Texas, they make the rounds. They go to Austin. They go to, I'm trying to think where the gas station, Bastrop.
Yeah,
I forget where we filmed
we hung out there.
Our Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But the mansion we filmed in, they have fences up and cameras. They won't let you get near it. You can see it from the roadway.
What?
But don't go near it, folks, because they got like 12 cameras. I think they should make it like you don't have to go inside the house, but they should make it so you can come up to the front of the house. I mean, it's a moneymaker.
I guess they're not ready for, I don't know what's the reason.
I don't know.
What do you think?
I have no idea, but there's hundreds of thousands of people a year go by that place just to take pictures from the roadside. Well, here we are, folks. Dark Delicacies, the mecca of horror. We're real excited to be here. This place, I believe, has been here over 30 years. Both Felissa and myself have done a ton of signings here.
So many amazing events and signings, and, we love Del and Sue House, and they are two extraordinary people. We call them the mom and pop of the horror community. They keep everyone together.
For Christmas, this is where I come. I make sure if I have people on my list that love horror movies or books especially, this is one of the few places where you can get your books.
This is it.
Let's go in.
Oh, look at
and
this.
they got Big Man shirts, right? So for us big guys, that's pretty cool. Look at
I love
Kate
this.
Hodder, CJ Graham, either one.
You need this. You walk in and it's just such a happy vibe because it's all the movies you know. Oh, this is exciting. I wanted to tell you this. So when I was first new to California and I came out, I wanted to find the horror community and I came here like we all did. And I remember seeing the Hatchet poster.
Oh.
I was obsessed with Hatchet. Don't tell anybody. And that was the first time I remember feeling like, Hatchet, like I'm seeing the poster, I'm seeing everybody else who loves it, and then to now be in Victor Crowley Hatchet 4 was a dream come true.
So as an actor, this is one of the first places where I was invited to sign, so it really meant something to me to be able to get invited to come to I think it was 2010, The Crazies that I was in, and we got to come sign at Dark Delicacies. And to me, it was like, oh my God, it's like getting on the cover of Fangoria. It was a big deal to be on the cover of Fangoria, and it was also a big deal to be invited to a place like here to sign. And so it was like, oh, you've made it.
So fun.
And this is where you'll usually find them, right here behind the counter.
That's right, drinking whiskey and smoking joints. I'm Del Howison, and I'm co-owner of Dark Delicacies, and I'm an author and an actor.
Well, thanks for having us in today.
Good to see you. I hadn't seen you for a while,
long time.
but you drop in every now and then.
I stopped in.
Yeah.
But so Del,
Always welcome.
what we're talking about today is we're getting into a little bit about writing.
Writing. We need those writers.
'Cause
We love you,
without
writers.
would we have good movies?
No, we need, and this is the thing. If you ever sit down to write something,
Yeah.
anything, I can't even write my name. It is such an experience to try to put characters and story together. I tried, and it was a disaster because it is such an important part of the filmmaking process, and you really have to know the process. I didn't know how.
I've tried it before and on my own, and I can't write in script form. I can talk to you about a scene that I like, that I think would be great for this movie. I can say, hey, let's do this. This would be great. But I can't write it out. But I've written with some folks and got some stuff done before. But we both of us have been in some movies with terrible scripts. I mean, we're not going to talk about which ones they are, but
Look at me, I'm like,
it happens over 30 years of acting
it happens.
that you're going to get into a movie where the script is terrible. And it doesn't matter how good the acting is. It's tough to save it.
You can't save a film if it starts with the writing, right? Jason knows he's a writer, an excellent writer.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's tough writing. It's one of those things. That's why I'm single. I believe, because it's such an isolating process. Like, you just need to get in your own little world, do your own thing, and I mean, you need to do that for like at least like 3 to 4 hours out of the day. But like, I don't know, like, I'm just one of those people that are just like, hey, let me be in my hole by myself, like as I am right now.
Del, you know how much we love you. First film I produced called No Solicitors. I made sure Del has a role in it, and he was amazing.
I did a kind of basically a walkthrough in the movie, but I got to play a doctor.
That's right.
I think it's the only film I've been in where they pulled my hair back and put it in a ponytail.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
beautiful hair of yours.
But I was, Dr. Dell.
And he's
So-
known for this.
Yeah.
But it sort of segues into what I wanted to ask you, because you're well known for the store and you're known for your writing. You're now an actor working a
Right.
lot. So tell us how that came about and how you feel.
You
about
know, that kind of comes about gradually living here,
it. That's true.
you know, and of course, the people that are in and out of this store are the people in the industry, a lot of them. So it came about that way, and there's a little role here, a little role there, and then now I've got like 30 films under my belt. The first 28 probably were non-union, and then the last couple I'm now SAG, so they're union films.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I get to pay more to earn less.
Oh, yeah, you do. You've been open over 31 years.
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years.
Yeah.
What possessed you 30 years ago to say, hey,
Possessed.
you know what? Yeah, possessed is a good one. What possessed you to say, hey, you know what? I want to open Dark Delicacies.
Well, you know, we collected like everybody before we had the store. So I thought, well, we got extra stuff. Maybe we could do something. But there were no horror conventions in those days. You're talking 1993, you know, like that. So we decided to do a comic convention, which were the ones where everybody gets a table and you're in the banquet room of a hotel. And we did it at Red Lion Hotel in Glendale, which no longer exists. Glendale exists, but not Red Lion. And we
Pre-Red Bugs.
Pre-Red Bugs.
Yes.
And we did okay. We were next to comic vendors and that kind of thing. So we decided maybe we should open a storefront, because we were tired of working in the real world. I was working down in the garment industry in LA, and I found a place, and I went home one day and I said to Sue, hey, I got your store. And she's like, what? I said, yeah, got your storefront. And we took our own collection and we opened the store up, and that was it.
30 years
The rest
later.
is history.
And now, after 30 years, on April 5th, Dark Delicacies will close its doors.
Dark Delicacies goes dark.
That makes me.
Yeah, it's a.
But we're not going out of business.
I'm not going to hug you yet.
How do you feel about that? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
It's bittersweet because obviously after 30 years, you start to get an attachment, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you get
But I just renewed the trademark for another 10 years with the government. And we can still do conventions and pop-ups, and we'll be online, and we'll do special events. But we get to work it on our schedule. I no longer have to get up at 8 in the morning and come down here and unlock the store and be here all day, which was a joy. It was fun. It was all fun.
Hey, listen, I offered numerous times to come work for you.
You did.
You've written a book, so that to me is
Well,
amazing.
a friend of mine, Bruce Dwight Collins. Yeah, there it is right there. The Big Schwag's positive self-help guide for complete losers like you. It was a listen.
Let me get a copy.
Yeah. Well, listen. If you can find them, I mean, the last one I saw on eBay, some guy knew that there aren't any of them, and he was selling them for $999. So it wasn't worth getting.
I got the one that says "To Big Ed, thanks for all the support and beer."
Yes.
I can't make that up. I swear
Yeah.
to
So
God.
I must have signed that for somebody. I've been trying to figure out who it was, and they put it on eBay, 20 years later, and I bought it back off of eBay. But yeah, I got
was
with a
this
buddy.
hard to write? Was this
Well,
difficult
I mean, I
task?
would write. The guy, my buddy Bruce Collins, said, "Why don't we? Because you're on TV 6 days a week with Monster Garage, and I was doing a show called Pastime." He said, "Let's write a book." I said, "I don't know how to write, Bruce." I don't. He's like, "I'll give you topics. You write about them, and then give them to me, and I'll fix them." So that's what we did. It probably took him 7 months to put this all together, and then we got a self-publishing company. I've also written a script with Steven Niver, who's called Kill Billy, which Jason read a little
I
bit
started
of.
reading. I'm really bad. I have a reading comprehension, which is really stupid of me. But so I have a reading comprehension, and I told Brett when he sent me the script, I was like, it's not bad. When I usually get a script that I have to read, I have to type it so I can comprehend it as I'm typing and reading. So I'll retype the entire screenplay.
That's amazing.
No, it's not. That's a waste of damn time.
That's incredible.
It's
but
so
then you really
stupid.
know what it's about.
Exactly. I will be able to dissect
You
every
can-
single corner if I do that, though.
I love bookstores. I love books. I love reading scripts. But I also have like a really, I have, crazy focus, ADHD stuff going on where it's like I can read 10 pages and I have to walk away and do something else because my
Yeah,
mind needs to
same.
go in a million places.
Well, yeah.
Do you find that
No,
too?
I
Like
think
it's hard.
Very creative people like you and I and Jason, our producer, and a lot of people we know. We have so much stuff going on in our lives, and we have so much stuff going on in our brain. Yeah, if I could sit down and focus on one thing, that would be wonderful. That would be great. But 57 years, I haven't been able to do that. So I try to do the best I can, whether it's 25% of this, 25% of that. And I had a great idea for a movie. And my buddy said, I like that idea. And he's written a bunch of scripts. So we did it. It took, I think, almost a year to write or 8 months to write. We had it at
Kudos to you.
Lionsgate had it. Lionsgate sent us notes. This is the first time, folks, if you ever
Excuse me.
get your script, which is the hardest thing in the world to get it to a production company or get it to a big studio. Lionsgate had it, gave us 15-page of notes. And I was crying about it. He goes, "That's a good thing. That means they actually read it and they actually want us to change some stuff."
And that's not a lot at all.
No, and that's not a lot.
No.
So,
It's overwhelming when you get notes because then you start in my case, I start getting discouraged. Like, shit, did I write something bad? And it's like, no, we're all the idea is there. We're just all trying to make it the best thing possible because when you're on set and the first problem that may come up, always go back to the script.
and I think as a writer, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think you should, if something catches your fancy, or just like a comedian, if you feel like something is, oh, that's funny, then you write it down. If that would be a great scene. So like I said, I can write scenes down. This is how the scene's going to play out. This is, not necessarily put it in the script form. So I write a lot of what I think would be a good scene. Now, to put it together, that's tough.
It's tough.
Just talk about, because I don't think people. Maybe we're not getting across the magnitude of all the people that have gone through this store. Talk about some of the people that. I mean, they may have not been anybody in the beginning, but now a lot of these people are like huge directors.
And you know what's even stranger than that?
Yeah.
Is I have people come in and they're like 25-year-old business people or whatever. They come in and they go, "Oh yeah, when I was a little kid, my dad used to bring me up," and they grew up in the store. So there was that kind of stuff.
Yeah, give us the dirt. Who was a really fun experience? Who came in for a signing? Who was wild and blew your mind?
You know who my wife's favorite signer was Ernest Borgnine. That's a pretty good name.
That's a huge Academy.
But he was he lived up on Mulholland, at the top of the hill, and he didn't have a way to get here. So a friend of mine who helps us on signings and myself, we drove up, picked up Ernest Borgnine at his house, drove back down, talking stories the whole time. Your favorite Ernie movie, my favorite Ernie movie. He did the signing, which was his biography. His autobiography had just come out, so that's what he was saying. And he had a couple of horror movies under his belt.
Sure.
There was the one where everybody was like Amish, kind of.
Oh yeah.
And
he had Rain Blood.
yeah, see,
I can't think of the name of it. But
now is the time to look it up on your phone.
yes. How about some of the horror movie directors that have come through this place?
Horror directors.
Yes.
We got lots of. Well, we can start with writer-director Clive Barker, who has signed multiple times here. Neil Marshall.
Adam Green.
The Descent?
Wes Craven signed in the store. Eli Roth, back in the beginning, signed in the store.
In the beginning, didn't they? Yeah, well, we did Victor Crowley.
Yeah, Victor Crowley. Adam Green has signed here multiple times for both his little show that goes on.
Don Coscarelli.
Don Coscarelli, Phantasm.
Well, John dies at the end.
Oh, yeah, well, he says that because he's in that one.
Literally, this place it's iconic, and it's not just
Horror changed during the time we've had this store.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were no conventions. This was back in the days when I saw the beginning of people showing up at a convention like names and charging $5 to sign that photograph. That's how long ago it was. And I don't think that's all inflation. But the conventions rose up. Horror Writers Convention, you probably do, well, both of you probably do 50 conventions a year between you.
More of that.
You don't find distraction then with social media and being on the phone and
Oh,
all that stuff.
so that's
when writing.
That's my Achilles heel.
Okay.
I mean, anytime I open IG, it's the big swag.
Yeah. No, I wish I could. And you would think that as you get older in life, I mean, the distractions, and especially social media, it's tough. But
And then throw 3 kids and 5 animals in.
no, your kids, bro.
Brett's like, no, not me.
Let's get into some of the writers out there, right? I Googled, if you Google top horror writers.
Did you write them down? Because
I
I
did
just
write
want to
them down.
guess like 3.
Well, go, guess 3.
Okay. I would say Stephen King.
Number 1.
Is it? Yeah.
Yes.
Clive Barker.
He's in there, top 4.
Top 4.
Yeah.
I would say I'm trying to think of another one.
Dean Koontz.
I was just that was at the top of my tongue. I was like, wait,
Top 10, Dean Koontz.
top 10. Oh, we have a knock at the door. Who's there? We have a guest at the door. Oh, it's Dave Sheridan.
What?
But you know what? Wrong episode.
Wrong episode.
Dave Sheridan.
But on the writing aspect as well, talk about your writing a little bit, because you are a published author.
I am a publisher.
Several times over.
Yes.
And we've been talking today on our show, we've been talking about some of the writers, Barker, Stephen King, Bram Stoker, and some of these folks.
I heard of him.
Yeah. So talk about how you got into writing and what you love about it, and what you love about the horror genre as far as writing.
I started, which is a really good tip for people wanting to break in at the time, I started as a short story writer. I had a journalism background and decided to start writing fiction because nonfiction was getting so strange. So I started writing fiction. And as a short story writer, you have many opportunities to break into someone doing an anthology. There are multiple sites like Duotrope in different places that you can go and see who's looking for what, then send it in. So I did one short story that was bought by a man named Jeff Gelb, who was doing a series of books called Hot Blood. They were an anthology
Hot
Blood, baby. But it was erotic horror stories.
See?
And there were like 11 or 12 in the thing, and he bought one of my stories for the book, and we had a signing for it and that sort of thing. And then I said, hey, would you like to co-edit an anthology with me? And that's where the Dark Delicacies, 3 Dark Delicacies anthologies came from. And then from writing short stories and being busy there, I started doing novels and nonfiction books like When Werewolves Attack and Vampires Don't Sleep Alone. Those are all nonfiction. I love air quotes. For people wanting to break in, it's a wonderful training ground. It's like learning your acting chops by working on a soap opera. You got to hit the marks. You got to work your ass off.
That's a good tip about the short stories.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to. You're not stressed. I have another 100 pages or 200 pages
Right.
to write. You can. What is a typical short story? How many pages do you need?
Well, a typical short story is between 3 and 10,000 words. Most of them right around 5,000 words. And when you figure when it's printed, it's like 20 pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
I am going to tell you that Stephen King, because he has written over 200 short stories.
And how many films?
How many? And then he's written, I forget, 67 books.
Let's
Stephen
ask Jason.
King,
What?
Jason, the producer with the most. How many books do you think over his lifetime Stephen King has sold?
Sold?
Yes.
At least like 300-ish.
That's okay.
Over 400 million books.
Wait, oh,
Wait,
sold,
what?
sold. Oh shit! All right, I was. Yeah, wow. Okay. I totally had that.
400 million. Let's talk about
Wow.
some
How
of
many
the movies.
film adaptations?
Over 87 movies have been
Can
done
you believe that?
from his
That's
books
crazy.
and short stories. Let's just name a few of these real quick. Carrie,
Yes.
great movie. John Travolta's first movie, by the way. The Shining,
The Shining. Misery.
Cujo,
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery, It, Christine, one of my favorite movies.
I was just going to say
The
Christine.
Stand. Oh, Stand By Me. So this is where you get into that, because he's the king of horror, as they call him. But Shawshank Redemption and Stand By Me were 2 movies that really have nothing to do with horror, but they're
I know, that is
amazing
pretty
movies.
amazing. Yeah, we love him.
Did
He's
you guys
fantastic.
see the Monkey yet? Or Monkey? It comes out soon. But I saw a
wait to see
pre-screening
that.
like a month ago at this point. Osgood Perkins directed it, son of Anthony Perkins, but also directed Longlegs, his most biggest movie that I think.
Huge success.
The guy's made 4 movies before that, but Longlegs I think is the one
I'm
that really
surprised.
put him
Was
on.
Nicolas Cage nominated?
No,
for
they were
this-
pushing for that though.
I know
They
that's.
were
I
pushing for it.
honestly thought we
He
were
was
going to
so
see
phenomenal.
that amongst the
He
big,
was so good.
which would have been cool to see Demi Moore and Nicolas Cage
oh,
both
yeah.
taking these awards for
That'd have
these
been huge.
horror movies. That
Yeah.
would have really completely blown
That would have
my
blown
mind.
their mind. People
Yeah,
would have been,
that
wow.
would-
Yeah, the monkey it comes out by the time this episode airs. I don't know, maybe in a week or so or something like that. But that movie was so batshit crazy. I enjoyed every frame of it. It was
Aw,
just
I can't wait to
such
see
a
it.
good time. It leans into the comedy heavily. But that's
And
from
Misery, right?
a
Yeah, Misery.
novella from Stephen King. So that's why I only brought that up.
Well, Kathy Bates is my favorite. When I saw Misery, I was like, holy shit. And we're talking about basically, which is very, very much in line with Stephen King, The Shining. Just a couple of characters isolated. You know how his stories are so overwhelmingly, obviously dark and quiet and crazy. And I am obsessed with Kathy Bates, and her portrayal of Annie Coates in that film is one of the best female crazed characters, up there with Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction, best female lunatic.
What were the difficulties of running a mom and pop type store in, just nowadays on a major?
It's gotten a lot harder. Actually, we kind of started it with no knowledge and $5,000 in our own collection. That was the beginning of Dark Delicacies. And I don't think you could do that today. I really don't.
Well, you're right.
Supply chain is a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when we started, Brett, you'll remember this, not a youngster like you, but these toys behind us and action figures, they didn't even exist.
So you watched the
We watched
explosion of these kinds of
Exactly.
merch.
Yeah, the merch.
And then when somebody saw that, oh, you made an action figure with your company and it sold, we'll make one too. And gradually it all went boom,
Well,
boom, boom.
listen, as an actor, I would come here all the time and I'd call your wife or call you and say, hey, listen, I know this figure's coming out. Can you get me 10 of them? Can you get me 20? Because sometimes they're tough to get.
Yeah. And now we've seen things come and go. For instance, pretty much it's the demise of the DVD. You know, they're going away. Now, if you're lucky enough to live another 20 years, maybe like vinyls, it'll flip back around. Here's my stock tip of the week. Hang on to those 8-tracks. You never know.
As we said, a who's who of writers, directors, and actors have been through this store, and we owe you. We owe you a lot.
Well, and I owe the fans and the signers a lot too, because we wouldn't exist without them. The saddest part of the store is in the back there. There's a big frame with a bunch of photographs on it. And those are all people who have signed here who are no longer with us.
Oh.
Like people like Charles Durning and, most recently would have been Tony Todd. That's so recent, we haven't even put anything up. So, but I mean, it covers a lot of people. Bobby Boris Pickett.
Yeah.
The Monster Mash. Yeah. I mean,
Ernest Borgnine
for one. Yeah. Wes Craven. So there's a lot that are no longer with us, and they were all part of the foundation of this store.
Yeah.
It couldn't happen without us.
And your
wife.
It's
ours.
And your wife.
Yes.
It takes a village, and we are quite the village.
Well, they say a lot of people move to California to get away from their biological family. But when they're here, then you create your own family. You surround yourself with people like-minded or like interests or whatever that you like getting along with, who are nice. And by the way, all those scary horror people, they're pretty damn nice.
And I judge people on how nice they are to my wife. And Tony Todd has always been very nice, was always very nice to my wife. And it's funny because I was sitting next to him in Tennessee a couple of years ago, signing at a convention. I said, my wife says hello. He says, who's your wife? I said, well, Dee Dee Bigelow. He goes, oh, I love your wife. And he's like, and then we were best friends. Then he wanted to, hey, hang out. How's it going? How you doing today? Very kind man, and a great actor. Not just Candyman. Tony Todd had a tremendous career, big blockbuster movies. I mean, The Rock.
Huge.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Final Destination. He was a very dear friend of mine. I feel incredibly grateful that I called him a friend, and that was a really difficult moment when we found out he passed. It was just devastating. But we love him, and he's given us these great movies that live on.
Yeah, we can celebrate him forever.
And we celebrate him, and I talk about him on all my panels now at conventions. Let's take a moment because we have to remember all of our community, and it comes back to this: our community, our family, and Dark Delicacies is one of our favorite spots with Del and Sue.
Thank you for all
Appreciate
the
you, buddy.
years of
Thank
Great.
you.
Melissa, give
for
him one more
being part of
hug.
it. And go out
I have
and
a lot of memories.
try to
a
find
lot of memories.
in your local thrift store a pair of the Felissa jeans.
Oh, yeah. Now, wait a minute. Hold on real quick on a side note. Tell me, because,
We did a fashion show.
yeah,
We
but
did
what are
do
these
fashion
jeans? You had your
I
own
just
jean
decided
line.
to do a jeans line, and they
What
were
was it
called
called?
Toxic Rose,
Toxic
and they
Rose.
were wild. They were like all crazy, and we did. Del and Sue were so kind enough to have my kids and a whole bunch of my friends. A lot
She
of the
had
actresses.
celebrity people on the runway.
It was very fun. Caroline Williams, a lot of
Hand it out.
great friends, and they were so kind to come. And again, Del and Sue were so kind to open their doors, and we did a little show.
It was fun. It was
It was-
kind of like the kickoff of
It was the kickoff,
Yeah.
and that's why I love this store so much, and that's why it does bring up a lot of emotion, because there are great memories that were embedded in this store. So,
And that was in our
Melissa.
third location. You're currently in our fourth location.
Fourth location.
Not that we have 4 locations, but we had to keep moving when the LA landlords jack the rent up.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, buddy. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being a part of our experience today.
Thanks for inviting me on the show.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Dark Delicacy, gone but not forgotten. Almost gone.
Almost
but not
gone.
forgotten. We're going to see him around. We appreciate
That's
you, Dale. Killing Time Experience, the Big Schwag,
Felissa Rose.
and the man Jason.
And in my cave. Yeah.